Okay, so I'm not very good at video games. It's been a big issue that I'm working through. And this week, we're working through it with Dead by Daylight. We're playing Huntress because I like her for normal reasons. And also, today is my birthday, so you extra have to do the algorithm things, like and the subscribe, and tell me what to do next for spooky season for Road to Get Good. Anyway, enjoy the video. We're gonna be Dead by Daylight. Okay, so I'm very new to Dead by Daylight. I barely play Killer. I mostly play Survivor with my friends, so I don't have a lot of experience with this, but I like Huntress, so I wanted to get her to level, like, 15 real quick so I could get all 4 perk slots, and then I would, like, just, stick perks on her and go. It is interesting going from Overwatch to this game where, like, Overwatch you have very set, like, builds, while this, it, like, can very much change the way you play depending on what you have on your character. I ended up for this first round using Scourge Hook, Unrelenting, Friends in the Shadows or Crows in the Shadows, I can't remember what it's called, and then Beast of Prey. This first round I was not expecting to hook anyone because I suck at Killer. I never get any hooks. I feel like I get the most success as Huntress, but most of the time it doesn't go great. But my guess is I went against a squad of total newbies because they were all playing, like, beginner-free characters, and I just massacred them. My guess is, yeah, they just got into the game because, like me, they were excited about Five Nights Freddy. I feel like the crows really helped because I would just see a bird go off in the distance and I'd just like, charge, and there'd be a person. It's just like, oh, wow, I murder you. And then I'd feel bad because, like, a lot of the time it was the same person I just hooked, and it's just like, well, fuck, up you go. And, like, I was walking through and then I just see, like, she's just standing there. So I'm like, fucking, okay. I don't know if I was supposed to leave her alone. I don't know if that was toxic. I was still kind of learning the Killer etiquette at this point. If it was at, like, a later date, I probably wouldn't have done that. But this time I was just like, well, stab, I guess. And then, like, in bits where I didn't know where the survivors were, I would just go from, like, gen to gen and hope that I would catch them, which I guess is just, like, the way you do it is you just cycle through gens. Well, I guess they did have a Sable Ward, but she went down pretty fast. And this one was another accidental tunneling where she just got off the hook, and I was just like, well, time to die. At least here, I didn't go at the Sable, I went for the guy who got her off of the hook. And then I immediately found the Sable and killed her. You might notice I'm spending a lot of time on this first round, and it's because, spoiler warning, this is the only good round I've had in a while. I'm still, like, mid-recording. I record and I go back and forth and edit, and it's a few days in, and I've had not good luck. Yeah, I was very pumped about this round, because I was like, am I finally getting good at Killer? I've been playing a few times on my own. Maybe I'm finally good. No, it was just a bunch of noobs. I proceeded to get my ass just absolutely beat. I didn't get a single hook, I think. One thing I've been struggling to learn is, like, when to give up on chases and when to keep going, because I don't want to keep pressure off of things for too long, but sometimes, like, this Nick Cage was just, like, a dickhead, and I was just like, he's really good at looping, so I could kill him and just keep chasing, or I could leave and try to hurt someone else. Or it's just like it was a hard thing to figure out because I never got kills. But also I didn't want to focus too much. I don't know. My hatchets were also, like, a struggle to throw. I feel like I was okay a lot of the times, but still sometimes I would whiff it a lot. Huntress is also just, like, a slow-ass killer. Like, her chases don't often go well. Yeah, I finally got that fucking cage. Oh my god, he pissed me off. And yeah, they got all the gens and hence started the little, like, weird thing at the end where I would just run around and try to attack people. And I had the perk that, like, makes it so you can hear the entity's voice when you're kind of near the survivor, but I found I hated that perk and I kept forgetting to switch it out because I would just always be hearing whispering no matter what because the range is so fucking big. And then there were some folks where they just kicked my ass so brutally at the very end. I ended up just fucking around with them. Like, this guy just kept blinding me over and over, and I let it happen until I spun in circles. It was just like, you know, silly little demeanors. And then they were messing around the exit, and I didn't know this. They were like, oh, we wanted you to slug race us, and I thought they were just taunting me. I ended up just, like, picking one up and, like, just holding him by the exit, just like, leave, child. I'm letting you go. But yeah, they ended up giving some nice advice and just being like, oh, you were really fun. So I love when you get, like, good interactions in games like these, because I feel like it can get, like, pretty toxic pretty fast. And oh, fuck, they streamed it. No! That's my shitty gameplay. No. Day 2, I swapped some of my perks around to like make myself invisible and shit, and I was ready to go. It was time for murder. I feel like at the beginning it went pretty well, you know. I was making chases, I was finding people, you know, and scaring them. And then I couldn't find fucking hooks. They just kept wiggling off me because I'd be like trying to find one, and then it'd take too long. And I ended up chasing like one bot for half the match because he was all I could find, and even when I picked him up, I couldn't find the fucking hooks. So yeah, I didn't get a single kill. I got a few hooks where I just like downed them right next to it, but it was kind of a pain in the butt. The next round went a little better. I like these open maps a lot more for Huntress because you can just better see what the fuck is going on, you know? And then, like, gens like that, even if I couldn't hit them quite right, I could scare them off the gen, which was nice. Sometimes I would pull my axe a little prematurely, hoping I could, like, peek it, but usually that ended up just, like, slowing me down too much. And so that was something of just, like, I need to learn when to better pull out my axe so I actually have, like, eyes on them. I was getting better at actually finding survivors, but I think what I really struggled with was like fully taking them down. Like I took that one down and I was hoping I could get her down real quick, but that proved to be more of a struggle. But at least I like hit her. I don't know, I felt okay enough. I felt like I was putting like decent pressure and getting generally better, and I got like several hooks. Eventually, they actually 3-gen'd themselves, so I was just going back and forth between the 3, but they would usually disappear by the time I showed up. But then I remembered I had my thing where if I stand still enough, I turn invisible, and then I managed to catch one briefly from that. But in the end, they all got out. I managed to get better at my pressuring, but I still couldn't kill people. That was the thing I struggled with most, was getting people on hook enough. Day 3 was kind of the same thing over again, where I was just struggling through traces and trying to find survivors and just completely whiffing hits, and was just like, I could have made that! Damn it! I managed to hook some survivors, but I'm not sure if I ever got a kill. It's kind of hard because I have a wide monitor, and I can't put Dead by Daylight to like where it's just 1080 by 1920 and just keeps the sides black. I can't figure that out for this game. So yeah, in the recordings, I'm just completely missing the sides of the things. And also, my struggle to find hooks came back, where I would just be like walking around this one pedestal to get up to it, and then I'd drop a survivor, and it's just... it annoys me. So yeah, no kills that round, which was a pain, but I was ready to keep going. I swapped around and upgraded some of my perks, and I also grabbed an offering to make hooks closer because the just like people wiggling off had become such an annoyance. But even so, I just was not improving. Like the chases, I still just struggled so much with and would constantly get just pallets dropped on me, and I would get blinded, and then I'd lose the survivor, and then suddenly all the gens were done and were gone. Day 4, I went ahead and just reworked all of my perks because I couldn't figure it out, so I figured perks might help, so I looked it up, and I ended up putting on Huntress Lullaby, Bitter Murmur, No One Escapes Death, and Spies from the Shadows. And I just got that from a fucking Game Rant article. But hopefully it was working. I do think slowing things down and really just like, because Huntress is a slow fucking killer. So slowing down survivors, I think, helped. I still got ran around to hell and back, but I did find a little more success with getting and actually killing survivors, which was nice. Of course, no amount of perks will make you really good at chases still. I think, like, the big issue I have with this game is this game has been around for years. I remember, like, going in middle school, going to my friend's house and playing this. So, it's been around for a hot sec. But, so, a lot of the players have been playing for a long time and have had that time to get better. But, well, I'm just, like, fresh and struggling through it and just, like, I press right click and I throw things and I hit the target like Overwatch. And still, flashlights are still one of my fucking nemesis. I hate it. I've gotten better at avoiding them, but sometimes it's just, like, ugh, annoying. Like, I realized I wasn't there for insta blinds. I know that I'm like, I have so much better than other killers of Days Gone, but like, yeah, it's kind of frustrating to say, like, there's been no improvement this whole time. We're almost done with it, and like, there's not much else to say. I just got run around, didn't know what I was doing, kind of flailed a bit, and then lost. And I'm brand new to the game, you know. And I did try a harder killer, so I guess this is to be expected. Day 5, I switched out Friends in the Shadows with Thrill of the Hunt, and that I felt like would help a little bit. Also, if we keep up this series, there's more potential because for my birthday, my boyfriend got me both Resident Evil packs, so I can Nemesis and Wesker it up. I feel like I'm always so nervous at the beginnings of matches. I don't know. It's like survivor or killer. I'm always just scared. Right off the bat, I found myself a Sable and just kind of like ran her down and murdered her. I felt bad because this is totally a move I pulled as survivor and got my shit rocked. And I'm like, oh, this is a baby Sable, isn't she? But still, I hooked her and went on my merry way. And then I ran into this Meg who just ran me around forever. I probably should have given up a lot sooner than I did, but I wanted to test the limits of like how far I could push a chase before it became dumb. And I was like, oh wait, can I like hook a axe over it? And I was like, oh no I cannot. So yeah, I ran around this for probably too long. And then I gave up and I was walking through the house and then I just... Poor Sable. This is a move I've totally pulled where I've gotten scared, gone into a locker, and then been like, well, fuck. And then I found this AFK Feng Min. I think that's how you say her name. And I figured she'd come back, and I don't know. I didn't know if it was more polite to like leave her, but I just tugged her. Which, Feng Min ended up being, like, a surprisingly good player. I could never get my fucking hands on her. I did start to find I got a little bit better at chases. Like, figuring out, like, when to get them to jump a pallet so you can just, like, get them. And then follow them along. And find, like, a good broadside so you can just follow their path and then you hook them. And, of course, I did a lot of gen regression. I think what made this round so successful was how slow I forced them to be. I did kind of miss my Friends in the Shadows because I did have trouble finding them. But otherwise, I do think the slowness really helped. And then once more, I ran into Sable, and she was actually making me struggle a bit. She kind of gave me a run for my money. I need to learn to be more patient with my swings because, like, I'll go to swing and they just, like, spin. And it's like, oh, well, this is fair. I do also need to learn how to do this in chases, because that was really good. And then, yeah, I lost her. And then there was this one gen where it kept, like, going off, and I'd go over, and no one was there. It was like there was a ghost. I'd, like, check all the lockers and shit, and there was just no one. And yeah, I found poor little Sable again. I mean, she's not poor anymore. She showed her prowess, so yeah, I chased her down and just, like, hooked her, and that was my first kill of the round. I found the Meg at this loop once more, tried for a minute, and then just gave up. And I was trying out that thing that I've seen Huntresses do, where they just like throw an axe across the map. I couldn't really figure that one out, so I'll leave that to like maybe practice in custom matches. And then there's a long stroke of just like absolutely nothing, like a bunch of mini chases and stuff, but no actual like getting anything done. Like they were getting things done really slowly, but I also just couldn't find them. And then I ran into the Meg and something like clicked in my brain around this little loop that we've been struggling with, and I just killed her. And then I hooked her right next to that weird gen where I'd walk up and nobody was there, and I'm fairly sure the Yunjin was there, and that kind of set off a little bit of a domino effect, which was helpful. I ended up just bouncing back and forth between like 2 gens for a while, because there was one where like the elusive Feng Min had been chilling, and then there was the other which seemed to be what the Meg and the Yunjin were working on, and that finally let me get my hands on Yunjin. I injured her a few times, but her like helping out the Meg allowed me to just like roll up and beat her. And so yeah, I just kept bouncing back and forth, and I would just find them again and again, and it kind of felt like I was tunneling, but there were also so many spots either of us could go now because there were only 3 gens left. So I ended up just kind of chasing pretty hard, and just like I got a little more ruthless than I usually am. I'm usually like pretty soft on survivors, which is probably why they like get away so easily. I try really hard not to tunnel and to be like polite, but at this point it was just like, okay, I just need to get these people down. And then I heard this sound, which I didn't know what it was. It might have been her going into 2-tick, I don't know. And yeah, so I just kept bouncing around on all the gens and just kind of found a Yunjin coming out of a locker, and that's how she died, which was sad, but you know, it's not like I can just spare her for that. So yeah, 2 down, 2 to go, and I was gonna take them the fuck down, so I focused really hard on this Meg. I want to be polite, as I've said, but as the game dwindles down, there's only so much you can do to be polite without just giving up your win, you know? So yeah, I was just going after this Meg. You can see a lot of my impatience with like premature swings and stuff. Like I probably could have gotten that if I'd just been a touch more patient. But yeah, I eventually just got her down, and I think that was her last hook. And yeah, then the ever-elusive Feng Min was left. So I was just kind of wandering around, both looking for Hatch and where she would be. I was getting some of the gens in case she wanted to just like pop that last gen and go. So yeah, I was checking through all those. And yeah, eventually I found the hatch and I shut it, which is the first time I've done that. It was kind of cool. And then that last little bit was up. And it was weird because like there was one left, so there was no time to like open the door and have like them all be exposed with my last little thing. So it was just like, okay, I gotta find which door she's on. Okay, there she is, let me just kill her. But she was way too good at like looping me and losing me. So yeah, she was the one who got away. But overall, I think that was a really good round. So I'm leaving it on there because I feel like I made a lot of improvements on that. So yeah, maybe I'm being cheap with just like, oh, I got one good round, it's done, we're over. But I'm happy. So yes, let me know if you want more of these. It's spooky season, so I'm gonna focus on horror. So let me know any other killers or any other horror games you'd want me to play.